Hello everyone, and welcome to Dirty Laundry. I'm your host, Code Marvelous, and today I'm joined by Brian, otherwise known as 0 Hour from the StimHack forums and also Netrunner DB. Go ahead and say hi, Brian.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks very much for coming on. You and I are like OG, like Netrunner DB bros.
Yeah, the top leaders on the scoreboard if I checked last.
Oh yeah, our imaginary points.
Through the roof.
But yeah, I wanted to have you on. We talk about lists pretty frequently, and so we've been working on an idea of how to make green good, how to really feature some of the new cards that they've gotten. So we wanted to do a video together, and we're doing a Dirty Laundry segment, which I haven't done in a while, where we build and test the deck for the very first time on camera. So let's go ahead and take a look. So we're doing Argus Security because it's pretty good at rushing, which is pretty good right now.
Mm-hmm.
For everybody at home, it's the weyland identity that whenever the runner steals an agenda, they have to either take one tag or suffer 2 meat damage, so it slows people down. They have to be more set up to really be able to steal with impunity. But let's kind of go high level. When you were putting this together, what was kind of like, what are we aiming to do here? We're going for what?
Well, we had discussed the new card, the Zealous Judge, and we wanted to go into what can we do to make it work. And Argus obviously was a good fit because the runner can't just simply choose to take a tag with that being a possibility of it being turned on. It becomes this thing where you have to clear the tag, and then all of a sudden, oh, I have to go run and trash that now that it's rezzed.
Right.
So it seems like a pretty good combination, and we were speculating on some of the future cards coming out, and one in the next pack looks really good, and we can get into that when we start building it.
Yeah. It's also worth noting that the Zealous Judge has some fantastic anime hair.
Oh, yeah.
Like, fantastic. So, Zealous Judge is a card that's a 2/2, 2 to res, 2 to trash. It's an asset. You can only res it when the runner is tagged, but you can do it for that moment, however brief it is.
Right.
And then once it's up, it's a click and a credit to give the runner 1 tag, which solves one of Weyland's biggest problems, which is the application of tags.
Right, and it's only going to get better, too, in the future when we have I Got a Rock, which is now called Boom. And the problem with C-Source was that it was only the single tag and you couldn't combo with the traffic accident. Now we have Boom coming out, which goes through iPad Wars, and it only takes 2 tags, which can be done really quickly when you have a Zealous Judge.
Right. So, Zealous Judge is kind of the linchpin, but if we're going to talk about Argus, I think we really do need to start with the Agenda Suite.
Right.
So, kind of things that are par for the course, if you have played or are familiar with Argus Rush, is Oaktown Renovation. It's a fantastic agenda. It makes you money. They know it's an agenda, so it gives you some weird mind games, right?
Yeah.
They have to be like, hey, are you holding the kill combo? Is that why you put this out when I could probably steal it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, getting the tempo and not losing it while trying to score is important because you're always trying to drive their money down while driving yours up, no matter what you're doing, pretty much in any Weyland faction.
Right. Yeah, and since you make money for scoring this, you haven't affected your kill condition at all by scoring it.
Right. So yeah, that's 3 of easy.
Yeah, easy peasy. And we've got 3 Atlas. Atlas is pretty good. It's especially good when you have pieces that you need to tutor for.
Right, yeah, and with the 2 pieces that are most important to our kill combo, getting them, you're going to naturally draw 1, but having the ability to get them as needed when you're pushing tempo is super important. So until this rotates, you got 3 no matter what kind of kill deck you're playing.
Dude, what are we going to do when this agenda goes away?
Install Hostile Takeover and then slot Aggressive Negotiation.
Yeah.
It's worked so well so far.
Oh, yeah. I don't think Aggressive Negotiation has, like, ever left my binder, ever.
No, not until draft.
Not until draft, yeah. We got 2x posted bounty because it's another way to apply tags.
Yep, you can go get that with the Project Atlas and say, hey, you're going to have to come get this or you're going to die. Yep. Also, can turn on the Zealous Judge if necessary.
That's also true.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 3 hostile takeovers because I hear money's good in this game.
Yep, got to turn on the archers and you got to get that increase in money. Just constantly driving forward with money.
Yeah. I also appreciate this guy's Sam the Eagle face. Like his just serious frowny face.
Right. Yeah. I always wondered like what's going on with his hair. Is he like a Gmod or it's just like slicked back.
Yeah, he just looks like a pile of rock. Like, he doesn't actually look like an executive. Like, but yeah. And then we've got high risk investment. It's a really good card if you can score it. In this deck that we talked about, it's mostly just to fill out the agenda suite.
Right. Yeah, you could argue for the cleaners, but a lot of the times, if the runner just sits back and makes a ton of money,
but you're never gonna score it anyway. So
you
it can
could.
really,
Yeah.
you could, but like you can. The argument that people always make is it should be the cleaners, but like you can't ever count on scoring a 5/3 in Weyland that's not Blue Sun.
Yeah, and if you do score it, it gives you the opportunity to have the catch up for the key card that we're going to put in here from 23 seconds. You can play that and then play the key card that we're going to put in.
Right. So that's the agendas. We've got 3 J-House. We don't really need to belabor why that's in there. We're going to be overdrawing a lot in general as Weyland, trying to find the piece that we need. So Jackson lets us do that without losing the game.
Yep.
We've got 2 snares, which is like the peanut butter to the Weyland jelly that we're trying to make.
Yep, knocking out the I've had worses, forcing bad decisions, confusing people that also can stand in as a never advance, and for the Zealous Judge, in case they're hip to your game on the Zealous Judge, they have to go check it. And it could be a snare.
So we've got a Singleton Chrysium grid, which I think is important, but I think it's unlikely that we're going to necessarily see this when we need it.
Yeah, it's more of a nice to have, and it's in faction, and you pay influence for it when you're other people, so you may as well use it when it's in faction.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the number of times it'll help you is an appreciable increase over just not having it.
That's true. We got 3 Beanstalks. So we've got some Siphon Recovery.
Yep, anything to, if they hold tags and think that you can't get to the 3 credits for the Scorch, or just simply, install Advanced Beanstalk, whatever it takes.
All right, so we've got 2 hard-hitting news.
Right, and this is the key thing that came to my mind when thinking of the Zealous Judge, because yes, it's a terminal, but resing the Zealous Judge is a paid ability. So if you hit them with this, you can immediately res the Zealous Judge. Now, if they have 4 tags, they have 4 clicks. They'll clear the 4 tags, or they'll clear 3 and run the Zealous Judge, which means that they end their turn tagged. So you get them in this work compression scenario where they have far more to do that they have to do to survive than they can do in a single turn, and that's why this becomes so important.
Right. Yes.
It's like a way better C-source in this instance.
Yeah. Well, and it also really goes into the Argus style of play, which is the no. You can't do what you actually want to do because you just don't have enough clicks for it. It adds on to the click compression feel of this.
Another great thing is it doesn't require a successful run, so they can't just run your ice and then depend on bouncing off. If they've made the run at all, you can play it.
Right.
So hopefully we have enough money for that trace. That's kind of one of my concerns, but that's what Weyland agendas are for.
Yep. And then we've got 3x hedge funds, and we've also got 3 Scorched Earths.
Right. You're not playing Argus without that.
No. You're not. And we've got Bailiff, which helps with the money situation. I like Bailiff in this deck.
Yeah, I think it's good. Even if you just say, hey, it's Parasite Bait, you still spent exactly the same number of resources on both sides, card, click, and 2 credits for that. And I think that's fair. That's fine.
Yeah. We've got Miramati to shore up HQ.
Yep.
And we got Spiderweb, which is an Argus security staple.
Yep, if you're rushing, you don't particularly care if it dies. 4 credits isn't too bad, and it still taxes pretty well.
So what are we doing with this? With these checkpoints?
So my theory on this,
I have never ever. I've used this before. I've tried to make it work. I've never landed a checkpoint in my entire Netrunner career.
Here's the
People
thing.
just jack out.
You don't have to land it. If it stops the run, then it's effectively in the run, and it will prevent future runs. Not many people are willing to pay the 4 credits after the bad pub to get through it, and if you already have 2 or 3 bad pub, you're probably already ahead in money, so it doesn't matter too much. My other theory on it is that with David on the most wanted list now, it's going to be broken way less likely. Like, more often than not, people were just complaining because you just, you install David and then they spoon it. I feel like it's in a place where we can at least try it now.
Okay.
It's a big chunky code gate is why.
We've got 2 Enigmas for
potentially
Enigma stuff.
yeah, the best rushing heist in the entire game. They face check it, they lose the click, and now they have less time to get the breaker, install it, and clear the tag that they're going to take after they steal the agenda.
Yep. We got 3X Archer.
Yep, that gives you some semblance of protection in the mid game, and with no David around, it's actually probably a lot better than it has been.
Yep. Going into the danger zone.
Oh yes.
And then we've got the Data Ravens, which it's very interesting how, you have some people who they talk about Argus and they're all about the Data Ravens and Argus. And then, like, you look at perhaps one of the people who had the most success with Argus, Seamus, he doesn't run Data Raven in any of his builds because he doesn't like a piece of ice that stops the runner from taking a tag, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, because Data Raven is end the run until they can deal with it and make it not a problem.
Yeah, and in this, normally, I think my normal Argus build has one with a casting call or two, and I put it in here because if they're going to contest a remote and you have a second remote protecting the Zealous Judge, they have to go through it, which enables you to turn on the Zealous Judge. So when they pass the Data Raven attacking the agenda, they have this decision to make. How am I going to deal with stealing the agenda and the Argus ability, and then also take care of the Zealous Judge behind whatever piece of ice is in front of it? So you're compressing the work even further that the runner has to do on a turn.
I mean, I was even thinking you put the Data Raven in front of the Zealous Judge, so once they know that they've got to go get it, you're like, okay, but like take another tag getting rid of it.
You can certainly do that with if that's all you draw, or the second Data Raven. Putting it over it by itself obviously isn't that great because then they'll just run, trash it, and clear the tag. But it's still a hefty tax. There's no doubt about that.
We also got a Singleton Negotiator.
It's a pet card of mine, and I think it's interesting for an early game face check. And with the bad pub, it's not so great, so maybe it's not the best choice. But the early game, like, oh man, now I have to pay this much money. Because, against Weyland, you're not always throwing out your Sentry Breaker right away. Maybe you're throwing out your Corroder, and you run into this, and then all of a sudden you have to pay 3 credits with the bad pub. Or just the 2 even is still not that great. So, I don't know. I wanted to give it a shot.
Yeah. Looks good. So yeah, we're doing a lot of Argus Rush business. It's pretty straightforward, and we're just trying to cheat out some tags to get some kills.
Yep.
Or to scare them enough that we can just rush out and win. Because green always has that win condition of, oh, you're going to play it safe? I guess I'll just windmill agendas until I win.
Yeah, and that's, really, against good players, the only way you'll ever get a kill is to really push tempo and try to score. And
right.
It's like when you first...
Make it so that if they don't go after it, you just win.
Yeah, when you get into the kill deck for the first time, you think, oh, I'm just going to blow them up. I'll just win. And then you realize that nobody is going to let you do that. And you start wondering, why am I playing this kill deck? And then you play against somebody who knows what they're doing, and you see that they're on 5 points by the time you have your first 10 credits, and that's when it becomes the pressure you need to be able to kill people.
Right. Yep, absolutely. So what else do you think is going to be some key piloting stuff? I think one of the biggest things for piloting this as opposed to some of the other builds is we're going to want to hold Beanstalk royalties if we're up against Criminal. And also hard-hitting news. We're going to want to really be set up before we use that. And then I also think that we definitely don't want to just be throwing out bad pub all over the place with this deck.
Yeah, it's going to depend on the faction, what we're up against, whether or not you're going to get the hostiles. You're going to get one to turn on Archer. Against Shaper, you don't want to do too much because they're just going to abuse it. And there's no way to remove it, so that's always scary.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so the combo, obviously, though, we need to keep in mind is holding the Zealous Judge for when you have the hard-hitting news so that you can put it in the remote and play the hard-hitting news that turn.
Right.
So
they don't really have the chance to see what you're doing.
Right, and to get it rezzed easy.
Right. Yep. All right, let's take it for a spin, everybody. Check out 0 Hour's stuff on NetRunnerDB. He's also very active on the forums. He's on a lot of the jank threads, like the Atom thread with me. But yeah, we're going to take it for a spin on test run and see how we do. Until we see you all again, always be running.